powerful men throughout history have understood a simple truth. The less you reveal, the more people wonder. The most dangerous man in any room isn't the loudest. It's the one observing, calculating, and choosing his words carefully. In a world where everyone fights to be heard, true dominance comes from silence. Think about the most respected figures in history: Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, and Miyamoto Musashi. They mastered the art of controlled speech. They didn't waste words. Every sentence had weight. Every silence had meaning. This is the power you must cultivate. Virtue 1. The fear of the unpredictable. Sun Tzu, the legendary Chinese strategist, wrote in The Art of War, "Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt." This is the essence of silent power. When people can't predict your next move, they can't control you. Consider the mafia bosses of the early 20th century. They rarely spoke openly. They let their presence do the talking. Their silence forced others to respect them, to second-guess their thoughts. The moment you reveal too much, you give people the tools to manipulate you. But when you stay silent, they have nothing to work with. Before we continue, if you're serious about mastering yourself and commanding respect effortlessly, hit that like button and subscribe. This channel is for those who refuse to be weak, those who embrace strength, discipline, and the art of power. Virtue 2. The weakness of constant validation. Most people today are desperate for validation. They overshare their plans, opinions, and emotions, hoping for approval. But this is a trap. When you constantly seek external validation, you hand over your power. Think about powerful leaders. Do they beg for approval? Number. They move with quiet confidence. They don't announce every step. They simply execute. Look at Elon Musk. He doesn't waste time explaining his moves. He simply acts, and the world follows. Psychologically, when you stay silent in a conversation, people will fill the space. They'll reveal more about themselves than they intended. This is why interrogators use silence as a weapon. The discomfort forces the other person to talk, often exposing their weaknesses. Power isn't about shouting the loudest or constantly proving yourself. The strongest men in history, the ones who commanded respect effortlessly, understood a secret most people overlook. True dominance comes in silence. When a man walks into a room and speaks less but observes more, people instinctively take notice. Why? Because silence creates mystery, and mystery breeds power. Those who talk too much reveal their hand, expose their weaknesses, and give people ammunition to use against them. But the man who controls his tongue controls the game. The power of reserved strength. There's a reason why the most feared warriors in history weren't the loudest in battle. Think of Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary samurai who fought over 60 duels and remained undefeated. He never boasted about his skills, never warned his opponents. He let his actions speak. The moment you start explaining yourself too much, you lose leverage. People who respect you will not need explanations, and those who don't respect you won't believe your words anyway. Instead, let them feel your presence. Speak only when necessary. The less you reveal, the more they wonder. And when people are left guessing, they automatically assign you more value than you might even have. The psychological impact of silence. Psychologically, silence is unsettling. It forces the other person to fill in the gaps. In negotiations, the person who speaks the least holds the most power. When you refuse to react emotionally, you break the expected pattern, making others uncomfortable and forcing them to second-guess their own position. Consider this. When a man insults you, and you respond with a smirk and silence, it's far more powerful than arguing back. Why? Because he expects a reaction, a fight. When you deny him that, you force him into his own mind, making him question himself. How to use silence as a weapon. One pause before responding. Never answer immediately. Take a breath, observe, then speak deliberately. This makes people hang on to your words. 2. Maintain eye contact. Holding someone's gaze without speaking forces them into submission. They will either look away, signaling defeat, or they'll feel the need to prove themselves. 3. Master the art of walking away. You don't owe anyone an explanation. The ability to exit a situation without reacting shows ultimate self-control. 4th, let your actions speak. Instead of arguing, prove your point through results. Success silences critics better than words ever could. Virtue 3, the strength of controlled speech. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, practiced this. He believed that a man who speaks less has more control over his emotions and actions. In battle and in politics, his silence forced others to respect him. A modern example is Vladimir Putin. Regardless of your opinion of him, you can't deny his ability to control a room with silence. He rarely raises his voice, never rushes his words, and always maintains a controlled, unreadable expression. This is why people fear him. Silence creates authority. How to apply this in your life. 1. Stop oversharing. Whether it's your goals, emotions, or thoughts, learn to keep things to yourself. Speak only when necessary. 2. Master the pause. Before responding, take a moment of silence. This forces people to lean in, to value what you say. 3. Be comfortable with awkward silence. Most people can't handle it, but when you remain calm, they will crack first. 4. Speak less, observe more. The most powerful person in a room is the one who listens the most. Let others expose themselves. 5. Use silence to dominate negotiations. Businessmen, lawyers, and interrogators know this well. The more you say, the weaker your position. Virtue 4. The unbreakable presence. The strongest men in history didn't just use silence as a tactic. It was their way of life. The samurai warriors followed the philosophy of Metsuke, a calm, unshakable gaze that made opponents feel powerless before a single strike was delivered. Look at modern-day power figures. They all have this trait. The ability to remain composed while others panic is a rare skill. When you are silent and unshaken, people respect you. They may not understand why, but they feel it. Virtue 5. Own your presence. Those who live authentically, without the need to explain themselves, are the ones who cannot be controlled. The world fears what it cannot manipulate, so be unapologetically yourself. Stand firm in your identity and watch as people either respect you or disappear. Either way, you win. At the end of the day, true power comes from within. When you stop seeking approval, when you refuse to shrink yourself to fit others' expectations, you become untouchable. Not because you try to impress, but because you stand fully in your own strength. Own who you are, and the world will have no choice but to respect you. If this resonated with you, drop a comment saying, "Power in silence," and let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on mastering yourself and commanding respect effortlessly. The The strongest man is the one who needs no validation. Stay disciplined. Stay untouchable. Historical examples of silent power. Julius Caesar. Before taking power, he was known for his quiet observation. His enemies underestimated him until it was too late. Michael Corleone, the Godfather. His most feared moments were in silence when he simply observed, processed, and acted. Andrew Tate. Love him or hate him, he understands the power of mystery. He doesn't explain himself. He lets results do the talking. The fear factor. Making enemies think twice. People fear what they cannot predict. A man who always talks is easy to read, but a man who holds back keeps people on edge. They wonder what he's thinking, what he knows, and what he might do. That uncertainty is more powerful than any threat. Even in battle, the quiet warriors were always the most feared. The ones who showed no emotion, no unnecessary movement, no wasted words. They conserved energy and struck only when the time was right, applying this in everyday life. In business, speak less in meetings. Let others talk first. When you finally do speak, your words will carry more weight. In relationships, never beg for attention. Walk away when necessary. Your absence will say more than words ever could. In conflict, responding with silence makes people more anxious than yelling ever will. A controlled man is unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. If you've made it this far, comment "Power in Silence" below. Let's see who truly understands the game. And if you want more insights on mastering yourself and commanding respect effortlessly, like and subscribe for more. Remember, the strongest man is the one who doesn't need validation. Stay disciplined, stay silent, stay untouchable.